We back again, guys. Hopefully the technical issues are sorted out. Let's quickly just take a look at the scores. There's been two rapid games thus far. Let's go to the scoring, and what we can see here is Henry getting off to a flyer right now with two victories in the rapid. We've mentioned before that the rapid portion is so important to get that vital lead in. And Henry has scored 4 points now with the two victories in the rapid. Watu needs to bounce back. Let's get to the 5 minutes and 1 second increment part of the match. Let's get to our arena. And players, are you ready for action? Are we good to go, guys? Watu? All right. Are you ready to go? All right, sure. So whenever you are ready, you can just mute your mics. And here we go. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's get going with 5 minutes in the 1 second increment, everyone. So Moonlight, which is Henry playing with the white pieces here. And Henry playing, he likes this knight c3 and bishop b5 business. It's an interesting way of playing it. It's not quite the Rosalino. And there's a funny little trick here. If black plays g6 over here, then white can actually capture. And if black thinks he's getting into a normal Rosalino, that would be a mistake because white would then play f4. That's why the knight was not played on f3 yet. And would then enter a favorable Grand Prix. Knight f6, d3. And this setup looks familiar to the other games played that Henry played in the other matches. Very solid, nothing too spectacular or over aggressive. White just setting up his pieces and castling basically. So black taking his time here after d3. Maybe he should, what to do, how to develop the dark square bishop. Pawn to d5 is played. Immediately attacking the bishop. There is bishop e5, but no, the knight is still covering that. I doubt the bishop will want to go back again. Bishop b3 perhaps. Knight takes knight, so what's going to happen here? Is pawn takes bishop possible? Pawn takes bishop is played, and now the knight needs to move again. Knight back to f3. Pawn takes pawn. So black getting the bishop paired. Seems like black is doing good. Castle, castle. White opening up the position. So if you have just joined, the first portion of the match has been played, the two rapid games. Henry has convincingly won the rapid portion 2-0 in the rapids with a 4-point lead because each rapid win counts as 2 points. And now this is the first game of the 5 minutes with 1 second increment. And black would love to get his light squared bishop activated as well. He's having the bishop pair. Got some potential in the long run, even though Watu has got the two knights being active in the middle. King h1, maybe just hinting at f4. Knight d5. Okay, so black accepting the isolated pawn, but wanting to get his bishop out. Now it looks quite juicy. f5 being a nice threat over here, and maybe f6. f5, f6, opening up the black king. That would be something definitely on Watu's mind right now. And black is not in time to control the light squares. Don't see him stopping f5 unless he could keep an eye on the e5 square. Perhaps somehow attack e5 so that when f5 comes he can capture on e5. But it looks very difficult here. Watu establishing a nice square for his knight on d4 with attacking possibilities. Black having the bishop pair but not many active plans right now. Queen to b8, right? So doing exactly what I mentioned earlier, trying to keep an eye on e5. So if f5 is played, then the queen can capture over there, and then that would take the sting out of f6, and the bishop also hanging on e3. So maybe a necessary move. Slightly awkward queen b8. The queen love to go to c7, but of course the rook will get to c1 and chase it. Queen to f3. Watu building up. Queen getting closer to the king side. Queen can perhaps go to g3 and support the e5 pawn and keep an eye on the king on g7. So I would feel slightly uncomfortable here if I was black. Black not in the game nicely here. So what to do here? What to do? Queen g4. I was okay. So white now wants to play with black, taking away the bishop from d7. White now is thinking about playing knight f5 over here, and the knight would be hitting the bishop and would be threatening mate with the queen over there. So very aggressive intentions here by Watu. In fact, my apologies, everybody. Henry is playing with the white pieces. My apologies. Watu has got the black pieces, and I've got it all mixed up here. Oh, technical thing has got me a bit flustered here, but okay. Let's get things back on track. I did mention earlier that Watu has the black pieces. So Henry's got the white pieces here. Yes, it also shows us here on our stream. Moonlight with the white pieces, and Mapung Gubwe with the black. So, white's pieces look very well placed. The two rooks, everybody's active. The knight on d4 is quite nice as well. So black having to defend here. And this is not typical Watu's style or what he would prefer doing. Watu is on the defensive side here. Bishop d2, and perhaps white wants to reroute the bishop on c3 where there could be lots of danger. Lots of danger. Queen c8, wanting to exchange queens. White says no, I'm going to play f5. Yes, and pawn takes pawn, immediately played by black. Black really needs to react quickly. He's got not so much time on the clock. What to capture with on f5? Do you need to capture on f5? Probably knight takes. That's the natural move. Bishop d7. No. Knight takes would be okay. And the black obviously has this rook g8 up. Um, countering the mate threats and hitting the queen. So Watu, white Henry not interested in grabbing immediately. Pawn is not going to run anyway. Queen h5, maybe knight f5, maybe rook f5, knight f5 probably. f6, black stirring things up. Black cannot wait for white. Pawn structure is too open. Bishop c3 perhaps. Yes, bishop c3. The black king not feeling comfortable at all compared to the white king. Maybe queen h6, queen h3 is another possibility. Queen h6, so now, yes. Bishop g7, there was maybe a knight f5 in there somewhere. Bishop g6 defending, trying to hold everything together. The two bishops trying to keep the king safe. Rook to e6. Obviously now rook takes f6 is a real threat that black should keep in mind. Bishop g7 just sidestepping that. Queen takes g7, sacking the queen. Knight takes f5. Whoa, what's going on? Rook e7 check. King goes to g8. My word, what tactics is going on here? King g8, rook g7, and there's gonna be a devastating. Oh my word, it's mate already. Brilliant mate by Henry. What an attack, guys. Wow, I hope you guys are watching this. And sure, this is some lovely stuff that we're seeing here. Tactics galore. Henry showing us he is definitely ready to use his tactical ability against Watu, who is also quite hungry for tactics usually. Wow, that was a brilliant finish, and these guys going at it again. Um, after one or two more games, then we're going to switch over to Watu's point of view, guys. We're going into this Slovenian structure again. These two continuing the theoretical battle. And Black, having not played a6, it seems like he's comfortable, but sooner or later, surely he should be playing a6. And the viewers seem to be appreciating the tactics here from the previous game. Amazing stuff. Knight takes d4 being played, queen takes, throwing out the queen, and e5 again. Something similar, it seems, that happened in the previous, maybe in the first game, I think. Okay, let's just get the screen proper here, guys. Apologies for the screen. Let's make sure the screen is fine. The rest of the things can fall into place for now. So hope everybody can see the board again. So Henry playing with the black pieces and Watu having the white pieces. It seems like things are getting back to normal on the network side. Things starting to run smooth again. Okay, we're back on track on leeches. It seems like things are running smoother on leeches. Queen to g3. There's some pressure on d6. The bishop, the queen, and the rook, all of them eyeing the d6 pawn. Black, of course, having enough defenders right now, but Black needs to take into account that the queen is also eyeing the black king straight away. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, and yeah, white willingly getting rid of that weakness on d6. Okay, white also had an isolated pawn on e4, but perhaps white wants to activate the bishop, get the bishop on e5, put more pressure on g7 indirectly. Hopefully, Babiki, can you see the time right now? Whoa, bishop d6, quite an interesting and nice move. I mean, bishop takes f6 is not possible because the queen is hanging on g3. Okay, things are running smoothly now for myself on this side with leeches. So now things are getting back to normal. So black wanting to exchange here, just calm down the attack of the king side. And b7 is hanging though. So after an exchange on d6, white could capture on b7 and maybe rook b6, bishop somewhere, and the b2 could be hanging. So Watu taking his time here, rook to d1. Queen e7, and this looks kind of nice because after the exchange on d8, perhaps bishop takes f3 is more possible because then the white queen is also keeping an eye on the b8 square. Back rank is weak for black. And yes, bishop takes b7 was definitely possible. Watu picking up a pawn over there, and Henry immediately relieving the back rank with h5. Uh, so usually you would play h6, but obviously black now in a bit of trouble here. So he tries to play h5, just a bit more aggressive, getting the g4 square. Sometimes you can play h4 and h3. Black just asking the question there on b2. And yeah, Henry definitely applying pressure. We've seen this in previous matches. Whenever Henry goes down materially, he immediately tries to put pressure on his opponent. That's the only way to go. Otherwise, if you material down and you don't put pressure on your opponent, you can kind of just stabilize. And no pressure means no time um, uh, pressure eventually. And that's how you would force your opponent to make mistakes. He needs to get low on the clock at least. Knight to g4. Ooh. So there's a huge threat. Knight d1, very calmly defending. So what next for black? Doesn't seem like he can do much over here. That knight d1, very safe move, covering all the critical squares for the black knight to enter. Perhaps Henry must try something like queen b8 or queen c7, just with a cheapo over there. I don't see what else black can try over here. Perhaps g6 with the idea of bishop f5. So black has to go for tactics. He has to go for tactics, and that's what he's trying. Uh, the pieces at least threatening something. He needs to keep white busy. And Watu taking his time, he's in a good position, so that's quite important not to get too excited. There is a 1 second increment, and these players have showed in the previous matches that they can handle themselves with very little time. And of course, this is a critical game for Watu. He needs to convert here to stay in the match, being 4 points down after the Rapids, and with a total sum of 12 points up for grabs. The winner of the match would only need 6.5 to clinch. So Henry basically needs 2.5 more points to clinch the match. So Watu definitely needs to start getting on the scoreboard here. What's happening over here? King F1, knight takes H2, King G2, knight G4. So Henry creating some play here. Watu covering the diagonal because Bishop D5 was perhaps a dangerous threat. And Henry actually coming up with some good play here. H4, just basically saying I want to rip open the king defense, even if there's pawns up for grabs. Oh my word, and Watu spots a nice little tactic. Pawn hangs. And in fact, Watu can perhaps even... but does Watu want to draw here? He probably needs to quickly assess what's going on. Obviously, Watu wants to win here. Bishop goes back, and there's your attempt. He's definitely not going to go for the perpetual. C2 is hanging. Can Black afford to exchange queens here? I don't think so. He's still too much material down. Queen d8, just keeping an eye on the knight. Knight f2, e3 could be slightly weak, but white wants to swap off immediately. c2 is hanging. c2 was hanging. So white is in control. Now just to stay calm and convert. The king is slightly open, so all that white needs to make sure of. And the knight is such a nice defender, covering a lot of squares. The knight is famously known for being an excellent defender in stopping the queen checks. If it's a lonesome knight with the king against the queen. But Henry definitely trying his best here. 2 seconds on the clock for Henry. Watu's got 6 seconds. Henry utilizing the increment, and he's living on the edge here. Watu slowly pushing check. Oof. Both guys scrambling over here. Watu needs to delicately push his pawns forward. And there's a mate threat on the board. G6 is hanging. Is Watu gonna take the draw over here? He's having none of it. He wants to get it on. And he's pushing the pawn. What maneuvering here by Watu? Let's see the maneuvering. Queen check. And slowly pushing on the b2 pawn. Wow, this is amazing, guys. The quality of play is quite good with the speed that they're using. And the bishop drops. Beautiful maneuvering by Watu. Brilliant. And Watu is on the scoreboard, guys. That's Watu's first victory. First game of the 5-minute and 5.1. And yeah, that was necessary. So you guys can continue. As soon as the players are ready, we will continue. And Watu is on the scoreboard. Critical game. I can't hear you. Watu, you muted again. You are present. Yes, I can hear you. Can I have a short toilet break? Just want to Okay, sure. You can take your toilet break. All the players are welcome to use two unofficial um, timeouts, and that is for these type of instances like a toilet break and so on. So usually we only have breaks in between the time controls. After the rapid portion, we'll have a 5 minute break. This time we had a bit longer time break because of the technical issues, and then after the 5.1 we have another break and so on. But Watu has asked for a small break, so let's give him that, and we will be back soon. Maybe it's also a nice strategical moment to just take a breather. Watu having gained his first win was very critical for him to get on the scoreboard. So maybe just taking a breather as well, getting himself regaining some energy, and yeah, well done to Watu getting on the score there, and things are heating up, everyone. Things are heating up. Okay, Watu, so are you guys ready to rumble? Are you guys ready to rumble? Let's go. Let's view the rematch. Okay, so again we have this bishop b5 and knight d4 sidelines, and here's an early e5 instead of d3. So white trying to or white's basically the first one to change when it comes to the theory of the last game. So e5 d5 in percent, and black looks comfortable with his development. White is castled. So knight c6 back. Black wants to keep more pieces on the board. Look to e1. So white is a very how shall I put it, a humble setup going on here. Nothing too aggressive, just developing the pieces. Thank you for following. Uh, Thank you, Sherwin Kleinsmith, for following. Welcome indeed. If I'm correct, it's one of the previous players. Is that you, Sherwin? Pop a message in the chat. Thank you for following very much. Bishop b5. Why doesn't want to get rid of his light squared bishop? He wants to keep his bishop. So guys, let's try again. If we can get everything going here. Queen to d5 and g2 is definitely someone's on someone's mind. Bishop c2, just was covering the weakness on d3. Bishop a6, continuing the pressure on d3. Okay, let's see. Queen's getting off the board. White getting improving his pawn structure. Black controlling the open file for now, but White's bishops keeping the rooks at bay. They can't enter. The knight on e5 is also doing a vital job in covering these squares over there. Bishop f6, okay, keeping an eye on the knight. Bishop on f4 now has the duty of covering the knight for a long time, so White decides to just drop back, not wanting to fall for anything funny like g5 was coming anyway. Where is White going to put his bishop? Perhaps, can he go e5? Does he want to swap off bishops? Thank you, King Kuster 007 for following. Welcome to the stream. g5, is White gonna go bishop g3? Can White gonna go bishop e5? White can perhaps even throw in a bishop c7 like in that first game. My word, bishop to c1, what an interesting move. So Henry playing bishop c1, and maybe he's anticipating Black also playing knight to c4, hitting b2. So it's a very defensive move, but he's trying to keep Black out. Black's pieces look very aggressive. h6 is hanging. So he's countering with e5, g4, and he's fighting back. That is one of Henry's biggest traits in chess, I think. He's a huge fighter. A lot of times players get affected by what's happening at the board. You might not have been having the best of games, or you had a nice game and you blundered somewhere and you threw away your advantage, and then sometimes that can affect you so much to the point where you don't play your best chess. Henry can be very cool and calm and just play the best moves and find fighting maneuvers. So bishop d3. So Black wants to get rid of that bishop on c2 that's keeping his pieces from infiltrating. So let's just see if we can get London in properly. Everybody just hang 10. Seems like our lead chess is working slightly better. London, let's see what's happening over here. Okay.
Calvin, I can see you.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. Let's just try to get
you. I can see the game. I don't know if.
Okay, just hang 10 there. I'm just trying to get you in properly. Okay, can you just say something, London?
Hi, viewers. Thanks, Calvin. I'm back on board and watching an exciting match here between Henry and Watu.
Okay, we've got some lag from Zoom, but it seems to be working. Let's see how lead chess is going. C4 was just played. It
Yeah,
seems to be working
C4 has
fine.
just been played.
All right, so it seems like we're back on track. We've got some delay there on your video, London, but you can continue chatting with us and see. We can see how it goes. Rook D2 was just played, trying to neutralize the two rooks.
Yeah, yeah. I think Calvin White, of course, following the player his plan of playing a positional game to try just to not give Watu too much attacking chances. I think that seems to be his theme for this match.
Well, in fact, what we have seen thus far is Henry actually attacking Watu. So Henry not just sitting back
Yes.
and playing positional. Henry also, when he gets a chance, is uh, attacking all out. So we've seen a brilliant attacking game. I think it was 1 or 2 games ago with a queen sacrifice and a beautiful checkmate. So Henry not the slouch either with the tactics and showing Watu that he's ready to take on Watu with the tactics as well.
Well,
But
in fact, Calvin, that Queen Sacrifice reminded me of a game at the SA Close that Daniel Bavish played with a Queen Sacrifice on that long diagonal.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I think I can remember that one. I don't know why you're
I,
doing that. I don't know why you want to refresh my memory. But folks,
yes,
if you haven't been watching the SA close, Daniel Barish won the close in December, and he managed to sacrifice a queen against me. Uh, I was kind of lost already, so let's not go into that too much in detail.
yeah. No, I just made that note that it was the same diagonal and the same sort of, but
Yes.
but that's how it goes. But let's watch this one and uh,
All right, London, and you can also
what?
just lean back a bit so that you're not too much in the screen. All right, that's
Yeah,
better.
Waters knight is out of the game there, and that's always a problem with a knight that's fianchettoed. The pawn on b4 and pawn on e5, of course, just holding that knight at bay. Daniel, I think at this stage Henry is always just a few seconds ahead.
Yeah, Henry is very fast. Yeah, he managed to neutralize things over here. What was looking quite aggressively placed earlier on. So, and like you said, the knight being out of the game, Watu playing knight d8, trying to get even the knight just exchanged off, and knight b8. Okay, a6 is hanging.
Yep,
Bishop d2.
yep,
What's happening
yeah.
here? Okay, seems
Well,
seems like Watu's
now
back.
is the time pressure. Yeah, it's time pressure
Seems like Watu is
all
back.
over. Yep.
Oh,
What is a pawn up now? But anything can happen with these time
it's
games.
another time scramble. It's another time scramble, guys. These two guys have been dominating the scene in the tournament, and both of them know how to handle the clock. So, I mean, this is just
Yeah,
beautiful to see.
yeah. It may end up in a draw though if White can hold just himself. But of course, both players very experienced,
And,
very
and
experienced.
Watu is not shying away from showing his intentions. He's actually pushing here with 6 seconds on the clock. He's actually trying
Yep.
to just convert.
Yes. He's got a pass e pawn. The pass pawn is there. There's no reason why he shouldn't go for it.
And what we've also noticed is that Watu actually just got onto the scoreboard the previous game, so getting his
Yeah, the
first
previous
win.
that's it.
So Watu is hungry for another win, and he's got the queen
Uh,
on the board, and we're gonna see the
it
knight
just
removing the queen. Can White get rid of the last pawn?
Well, that's a question. That's a question. King e5, king g6. Let's see. Okay,
King
yeah, king
g6
g6
and
and
king
king g7.
h7.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
g5, h5. Okay, and it seems like White is gonna get that
yep,
last pawn. Okay, and Henry escaping there with the draw. Oh my word, that was a critical one for Henry. That was a critical
yeah,
one for Henry. That half a point will do a lot for Henry's fight and quest to get the title.
yes, yeah. Well, that was quite a good save there on that
Wow,
side. Fighting chess all the way.
wow, fantastic stuff here. And yeah, so that's the second game of the 5.1 time control. Let's get to the rematch, and I think it's time for us to turn the board around and take a look at it from Watu's point of view. Okay,
Yeah,
so
they seem to be contesting this Sicilian, and now Watu has decided to go for the G2, G3, Bishop G2 system, just getting away from that earlier one, which didn't get a lot of success on the king side.
yes, and just for the viewers out there, Watu's playing with the white pieces, Henry playing with black. Again, this Kavenigan setup. And okay, I think it was a time off. And this is very interesting. Sometimes white plays rook e1 and knight to d5. That's why Henry has played bishop e7 before knight f6, trying to avoid these early tactics. And we're switching back to a normal looking. Sometimes it can even transpose to these bishop e2 and bishop f3 lines in this. But the c4 square being very open, so
Yeah, probably
what?
Bishop C1. Yeah, Bishop
Uh-huh.
C1's got to go back.
And
And of course, it's a slow game. I was thinking earlier in my notes, Calvin, that perhaps it's like two boxes, just shadow boxing, just to see what the other one wants to do.
yes, and just to update everybody on the score, Henry took the Rapids 2-0, which gave him 4 points, and then Watu struck back in the 5.1 games and got to the first victory with 1 point, and then a draw in the second one. So Watu is on 1.5 points, and Henry is on 4.5 points. So again, that previous half a point that Henry snatched there was quite critical for Henry to keep that 3 point gap. Um, so yeah, so I don't know. I've seen these. I've played these positions for black as well, and I must admit, sometimes the knight looks very good on c4, and it does in fact here as well. But sometimes the knight can get chased away eventually. I don't know. Maybe it just looks good here, but I've seen positions where the knight on c4 looks good, and eventually we'll just have to go back. So I might be wrong in this situation.
Well, but on the other hand, the knight on c4 does keep that bishop on c1 at bay there, because the b2 pawn always needs attention. So the key question for me is whether there's going to be sufficient queen f3, queen g3, h4, h5 type of setup on that side. Is there enough? That's a question, because if the bishop on c1 is not moving, what does the rook on a1 have to say?
Yes, yes, and I mean this struggle, this old age struggle of white continuing in the king side and black having to absorb the pressure. It reminds me of that famous match between Kasparov and Karpov when Kasparov was challenging Karpov for the world title match. That final game being something similar as well. But okay, Henry,
Yep.
turning up the pressure immediately with d5, saying okay, he's not going to wait for the king side attack. He wants to open up the center.
And of course solidify the knight on c4, which you spoke about earlier as well.
g5.
And now, yeah, Watu is going for it. Watu is not holding back. He's going for it. He wants that open file on the f file, and of course access to h5 with his queen.
I think this is the right strategy. I mean, this is Watu, his typical style, and if you take the match situation into consideration, then of course White needs to apply the pressure. Watu needs to attack and basically get back into the game. Lyndon, we've got a question here in the chat. Scariest name asks Dr. Boa. Some in the chat yesterday asked someone in the chat yesterday asked who has the most Olympiad appearances. Could you share some
Yeah.
of your knowledge on that?
Yes, no, in fact, Watu has got the most Olympiad appearances. Watu has played in from 1994. Watu, and doesn't that drop a pawn and piece now?
What's
Yeah,
going on? Yes.
queen takes
Oh my
b4. Yeah,
word! That drops a piece.
that drops.
I don't know
That
if
drops.
it's a commentator's curse about that c4 knight over there. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that was keeping it on that side there. I think the game should be over now on that side for all intents and purposes.
But coming back to the Olympiad appearances, you were saying over there.
Yeah, so Henry Steele played for South Africa 2008, 2010, 2012, and 2014. Watu Kobese has played 94, 96, 98, 2000, 2004, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So
Wow.
Watu has played 10 Olympiads. He's
Wow.
only missed one in 2002 when he was the coach of Botswana for that year. And he was chosen for 92, but he didn't make the trip from Germany in that year. But from 1994, he's only missed one Olympiad.
Okay,
So
so
Watu
Watu
was the first
obviously,
person to make.
yeah, so Watu has got, it sounds like he's got almost as much experience as many years I've been on the planet almost. So, yeah,
Yes,
a big veteran in the South African chess scene. I mean, Henry also being, like I mentioned, I think only 2 years younger than myself, having lots of experience in his own right. But Watu being the veteran does have a bit, quite a bit more than Henry. But this being a tough match,
100%.
Henry trying to still keep things alive here. I mean, there's complications in the middle. So as long as things can, I don't know. Obviously, White is winning with an extra piece, but with this time control, as long as you can keep your opponent thinking. I mean, Bishop C4
Yeah,
is in the air here. Bishop C4 is also a
yeah.
possibility.
White should go for Queen G4 just to try to neutralize that queen there on H4.
The bishop on
So
F4
I
is also hanging. Yes,
Yeah,
Bishop E3.
bishop drops back. Now, of course, rook F7. There's tricks there. Is Bishop C4 now possible? Yeah, it looks like it's possible to pick up that at least getting the rook on F1. Let's see what Watu comes up with here. One can never underestimate Watu. Of course, he's a piece up. He's simply a piece up, and at this level should be enough. But black is also a minute up. And in blitz chess, a minute can be a long question. Oh, there he takes it. There he
He
takes
takes
queen takes
queen takes
bishop.
C4. Wow, and he can play rook takes
Yep,
F7 now. So now
yep.
he's got two pieces and a rook for the queen. So White definitely not in the mood to be defending and playing backwards. He'd rather sacrifice his queen. And now maybe even thinking about doubling up on the F file. And the two bishops are covering a lot of ground here to protect the king. So wow, Watu not sitting back over here. Definitely taking the challenge to Henry.
And threatening bishop d4 in some lines, opening up on g7 as well. So bishop d4 possibility
Yes.
as well in some lines.
So
And in fact,
yes.
yeah. Now I'm just looking now that Henry is probably going to try to invade. Maybe queen g3 now for Henry. Queen g3 is a
Yes.
move because that threatens mate and the bishop on e3.
Rook.
Black should go queen g3.
No, queen g3, then knight takes c2 would protect the bishop. The rook is also hanging, by the way.
Yep, that's true. See, that's why he's moving it. Good point there, Calvin. Well spotted.
And Lalder says in the chat, remember Watu beating Leko as well. It's also something to think
Yeah,
of.
he beat Leko in 2001 at the World Cup in Moscow.
Aha, so that's also a great feat there by Watu, beating a world-class player. Leko even challenged Kramnik for the world title at some point. So, I mean, definitely.
Yep, 2003 nice. score there was equal at the end, but Kramnik wins as a world champion.
So what's going on here? Let's see. So maybe Watu will regret the fact that he sacrificed his queen over here. Seems like his pieces, especially the bishop on e3, it seems like the white king is a bit airy. He's got a lot of pieces around, but no pawn support. So I think there's some complications that black is actually liking here. I think black was just lost, and now he's got the complications he wanted.
Yeah, I think that queen g3 is now certainly in the air still there that I spoke about earlier, because bishop e3 would be hanging, and then of course the bishop g2 would be pinned. So yeah, so he's got to do that. Queen g3, queen d3. Yeah, there's he going for it.
And the pieces are becoming a bit loose. Must we play bishop f2 perhaps? Whoa, king f1.
Oh, king f1. Yeah. So now rook takes knight surely. Rook takes knight, but that would allow bishop takes e4 check. So, but the rook takes knight is still possible because you still pick up the bishop on e3.
Where is the king gonna go after bishop takes e4? Where is the black king gonna go? Can he play g6? Everything is hanging. I don't know if black can allow bishop takes e4. That's why it drops back.
Yep.
This is a slugfest, guys. This is definitely unclear. Both players trying to win actually.
Yep. They're pushing now. Watu is going. Watu is throwing all his pieces in.
And
That rook on b2, queen d5. Yeah.
just an interesting comment here in the chat against Scariest Name saying, putting down a mathematical line here. Dr. Boa equals South African chess Google. Interesting
Just
one,
as
Scariest
Calvin
Name.
said. All right. So there's a pin.
Okay,
There's a
so the
pin
rook is
on the
the rook
knight.
is hanging. The knight can't move freely. Rook takes f6. What's happening over here? Was that a desperate attempt? What was running out of time? King f2 and
Yeah. No, it's
Henry
desperate
has
attempt.
Henry has bounced back, being a piece down, and Henry is in charge. Wow.
Yeah. Henry is winning. Yeah, Henry is winning. In fact,
Yes.
Henry is just winning. Yeah. No, it's over now. It's basically over.
Once
King
again,
f7.
like I've
Yeah.
mentioned, Henry, whenever he's down, he doesn't slouch. He's always trying to apply pressure, even when he's down. And yeah, with the time management and just the aggression from his side, he has pulled it off again. And it
Yep.
seems like Henry's going to get another point.
It's all over. It's all over. Bar the shouting. Yeah. They're the 2 pawns. Black pawns run faster than white pawns at the Marshall Chess Club. They say. There the bishop drops as well. So that's it.
And that's the third game of the 5.1. And now for the final game of the 5.1. So now the score is. Hi, guys. Let's just have a chat with the players. Hi, guys. That was the third game of the 5.1, correct?
No,
Was that the fourth game? So can you just give me the scores of all four, please? Because Watu, you won the first one. Is that correct? Oh, okay. So I think I missed that one. So you won the first one, Henry, and then Watu won the second one. The third one was a draw, and this was the final one.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So now counting the scores, with that being the end of the 5.1, then Henry, you are on one on 4, 5, 5.5. Henry, you on 6.5 already. That means you have won. You have clinched the match. Right. So what do you are on 1.5 points, and so now we've got a break, and so let's see what we can do with the mini match with the 3.1, and yeah, so you guys can take your 5-minute breather. You both fine with taking your break?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll phone you back soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right, so let's see. So that's that, guys. With all these technical issues, we had a problem, and I'm actually, in fact, missed the one result. So let's just update the score. Lyndon, what can you tell me thus far? I think you've been watching the match while you were offline as well. What can you tell me
Yeah. No.
thus far about the match?
No, thanks, Calvin. I've been following it very intensely here with some notes. It was interesting with that first game where Watu was going for it and played that queen to h5. Henry just responded with pawn to g6 and then bishop b4, neutralizing the whole attack and then just coming back with the queen and Watu couldn't do anything. So I thought it was a good tactic from Henry as I said earlier, positional play, and not allowing Watu any tactics of any nature, which we know is Watu's strength. And of course, that allowed him to come back. So, but exciting chess, as you said. Henry is still going for the attack as well, with that beautiful knight on d4, bishop e3, and then the 2 pawns e4, e5, and f4 going forward. So both players playing their hearts out, Calvin.
Wow, yeah, I must say I've been entertained by these two guys. From what I've seen, I've had my technical issues over here, and hopefully, Watu can still give us a nice show here in the final portion. I must say that that queen sacrifice is still stuck in my head there by Henry. Henry had a very nice looking attack, but the way he finished it off, I'm quite impressed with that. So we're about to get to the scoreboard, guys, and yeah, so let's get to the scoreboard. Let's get our
I think, Calvin, the other thing that perhaps the viewers will also appreciate is that even if one of these players go a pawn or a piece down, they still play as if that was just another move. It's not as if you can think that you've blundered and now you've got to sit back and hope for the best. They still give it their best in order to show that they want the win, regardless of whether they are pawn or, even as we saw by Henry now, a piece down.
Yes, I mean, and that's quite nice to see. I mean, a lot of times I can recall in my own play as well. You can get so, like I mentioned, the psychological part of it. If you don't play the best moves and you kind of slip up, it's so easy to just collapse and not play well anymore and give your opponent an easy game. But like you've mentioned now, both sides, whenever they're in trouble, they just turn on the heat, and it's quite good to see, and something that everybody can take home. So now that everything is sorted out, I think I've got my music running as well. So that's the score right now. So Henry on 6.5, clinching the match already, the title, because 12 points up for grabs and Henry already on 6.5. I think that the two rapid games once again playing a crucial role. Henry scoring 2-0 in those in that side, and scoring 4 points. And Henry has been very impressive, and he's continuing his impressive run. Watu being impressive in the tournament as well, but struggling a bit here. I think Watu didn't get into gear properly, having to defend more than attack. And even I think it was this one and maybe a previous game as well, where he was in a good attacking position, but Henry just absorbing all the pressure and then bouncing back. Let's get to the studio over here, and I've got you, London, and myself in the studio again. And let's see how much time does the players have left. I guess I have to call them pretty soon. And
no, I think
yes, continue.
Calvin, I think that the main thing for me is that both players know each other very well, because they've been teammates for South Africa for a long time as well. So they would have analyzed many of these positions together as well. So they know what they're looking for. But at the same time, one could see Watu going for that f4, queen e1. Is he going to take? Then you saw in the next game, he left his bishop on c1, and then when Henry played knight takes d4, he took with a queen, so as just to mix it up a bit. So I think that's also the other thing. Both players are just at the beginning wanting to see what the other player is going to play, but at the same time going for it.
Yes.
And that's what we want to see in the chess world. Players not being afraid to actually push for the win at all times.
Yes. And you know what? I spoke about another topic in my other matches. I think with this online chess, you need to be online fit as well, and you need to play a lot online. And of course, Watu, I think, plays a lot. If you can see it in his rating, but Henry there with his 2600 rating, more or less, you can definitely see that Henry is quite fit. And in previous matches as well, not on this tournament, and in other tournaments as well, we've seen Henry being extremely vicious on the clock, beating the best in the country with swift play, being down or not. And of course, in chess, like in any other sport, age, I think, also plays a small factor. Taking nothing away from Watu, I think Watu is one of the fittest guys I know. I mean, for his age, he's wiping guys 20 years younger than him away on the chessboard. But I think Henry is just a bit more fit with the mouse, it seems.
Well, I think, Calvin, you're correct that you've got to be, in this case, match fit and mouse fit. And yes. I think at the end, if you play a lot more, then there's certain things that you pick up far quicker. And even if that game that we watched last week between Steele and Daniel Cordery, Steele was a piece down. He just played rook takes knight on f5, stealing 2 or 3 seconds from Daniel, who was trying to look at things. So that's also another tactic. Even if you're a pawn or a piece down, you exchange, you gain a second or two, and then who knows, that may be critical towards the end. So I think going in with this COVID-19 stuff, most of us need to probably become match fit and mouse fit, because a lot of chess is actually going to be played on the internet.
Yes, you need to scratch up your online play. I think I even saw an article of saying that they're going to try to implement this online chess in some of their tournaments on the calendar. We're about to call the players pretty soon. We've got some questions. Another question here on the chat. Scariest name says, let's see. Calvin had an interesting reason for South Africa's lack of grandmasters. Earlier in the week, we were discussing that. What does Dr. Boa think the reason is? Why does South Africa not have a lot of grandmasters?
Well, we're probably still a few years behind because staying so far from the European circuit where the most of the top chess is played, we do have that difficulty. However, I think with the younger players and with the breakthrough that Kenny Solomon made in 2014, we will probably now be able in the next few years to have guys like Henry Mohammed Steele, guys like Daniel Barish, Paul Gluckman, Watu, all of those guys pushing to get to the next level with your Daniel Corderies and others. But there would be a multitude of factors, Calvin, why we don't have grandmasters.
Yes.
I'm busy researching an article now, and in the early 1990s, we ended above Egypt in the Olympiads. We ended above them 92, 94, and 96. So the interesting thing is, what did Egypt do after 96? And perhaps those are some of the issues that we need to look at.
Yes.
But it's not an easy answer. Too many factors.
Yes. And I think South Africa has so much talent and possibilities, even to you see that Olympiad as well, where South Africa, I mean, we could easily be the best team in Africa at the Olympiad, and there's nothing stopping us from getting, like I mentioned in the previous matches. Maybe we just need a bit more exposure, and you never know, a commentator or two could also threaten to become a grandmaster, by the way. But let's try to get the players on the line again. And I think they've had a long break, and let's see if we can get to the final stage of the match of the 3.1. Right, Watu, let's get Henry on the line. All right, so Watu, we've been having these technical problems, so I doubt that we will be able to get everybody on Zoom at the end. So I think we should continue using this WhatsApp for comments. So let's just wait for Henry to join, and then maybe if the two of you could say something about the match thus far. Let's get back to our scoreboard. And as soon as Henry is here, then we can maybe just have a quick chat and then start with our final phase of the game. And thank you for Amini D for following. I'm assuming that's Daud. If that's the case, just pop a message in the chat. Thank you very much for following and welcome. You have just joined us for the final stage of this match, the 3.1 portion. And it seems like Henry has clinched the match thus far. But let's see who can clinch the 3.1 mini match. Henry taking his time over here. We're gonna give him a minute or two again to join us. Yeah, so let's see. Is there anything else in the chat? Let's see. So Master M asks, just please ask Henry how he managed to keep calm, and nerves, and ensure he is emotionally fit for matches. We'll ask Henry as soon as he is available. And yes, Danny, I think you are correct with that question. You're quite correct over there with assuming that name. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So that's about it. Let's just try to get Henry on the line again, guys. I'm not sure how much time has passed, but surely he should be close. There we go. We've got Henry. What do I think? Let me decline his call and call him. I think I might just be going to Henry's call if I do that. So let's add him over here. And let's just stop the music. Let's get everybody. So back to the arena side. Okay, so I'm struggling to get Henry here. He was phoning me. There we go. There we got Henry. And okay, so guys, Henry, like I told Watu now, we've been having some technical issues, and I don't want to push it at the end of the match for the Zoom conversation again. So if I can just get a few words from the both of you now, and maybe at the end of the match, what's the both of yours thoughts on the match? If I can maybe ask you first, Watu.
Um, it's okay. I mean, I'm getting the decent positions, but I'm playing. He's playing with fast. He's, putting me under time pressure. Yeah, I think the first two games were very bad for me. Somehow I got in the first two games I didn't play so well, but then okay, I started to stabilize. But yeah, not playing fast enough. I'm under a lot of time pressure. I don't have time.
Yes, and you've had, I think, one or two slip-ups where you were actually looking good over there. So I think that's a key factor. Henry, I mean, he does not hesitate. I mean, his speed is quite impressive, and the two rapid games again showing quite a lot of importance in these matches. So if you don't get going with the rapids, then it is very tough to get back. Henry, what's your thoughts on the match thus far?
Yeah, once again, my strategy is just if I can do well in the rapids, obviously it gives you such a big advantage in the match.
Yes.
Especially in blitz, sort of anything can happen as long as you keep fighting. There's always a lot of tricks. So yeah, I think I was fortunate that the rapid games went well for me. And yeah, I mean, I think Watu's been playing well, but just a little bit too slowly. I felt like I've been getting, I got lucky in the last two games, definitely. I felt like I got very lucky.
Aha, okay. So, okay, thanks for the words, guys. So, are you both of you ready for action?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Henry, I think you did issue the challenge last time. Can we get the challenge with the 3 minutes and the 1 second increment, please?
Yeah, I did challenge, yeah.
Okay, so let me just get to the board quickly.
Can I mute then?
Yes, you guys can mute. Just hang on. Don't start the game yet. Let me just get to the board. And yeah, I think we are ready to go. So whenever you guys are ready, good luck. Right, so now to the 3 minute and 1 second increment portion of the match. What to expect? I think Watu needs to improve with the time management. Like he said, he's just been playing a bit too slow, even getting good positions and then messing it up. So
yeah. So there's a bit of a modern defense coming of sorts, and of course, Calvin, we're looking at pawn to d6 and castling here for black. But let's see, maybe black has some interesting things in mind. Well, there you go. So no d6, but rather pawn to d5. So this is interesting little setup going here.
Yes, and
not usual.
Just for the viewers out there, Henry's got the black pieces here, and Watu's playing with the white pieces. We've seen Henry use this knight f6 idea without d6, kind of like in the Carlsen style as well, without the bishop on g7 earlier in the tournament, where he's inviting e5 and perhaps even knight f5 and knight g7. I think they call that the rat opening, or Carlsen calls it the rat. Now it seems to be closer to an Alekine's defense. And black surely wants to strike in the center with either c5 or e5. Looks like c5 coming up. There we go.
Yeah, c5 coming up. And of course, just moves like queen c7 being a natural move at some stage, and even knight f6 just to remove the bishop and rook d8. So those are sort of, as you said, your Alekhine positions. But let's see which side of the board white wants to attack here. Bishop should drop back to c2, perhaps, just to keep options open. Yep, there we go. Now black needs to decide what to do about the pawn on c5. Does he exchange? Does he not exchange?
Probably take.
So
probably take.
Must take, yeah.
And then what will white do? Maybe bishop takes looks interesting. Bishop takes, just controlling everything, and then knight wanting to jump into e5 at some point. Maybe rook e1.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would play
So
bishop takes
maybe
d4 here. Yes.
yeah, there you go. And controlling e5 still as well, just to make that difficult for black to get in.
Yes, and we've seen in the
So,
previous matches how Henry has utilized this majority 4 pawns versus 3 on the king side, pushing e5 and even f5 in some games. So yeah, it seems
yeah.
like it's not easy to achieve that. Bishop d5. So
So
black actually doing something similar to white here, putting his bishop on d5.
yes, yes. No, and of course, it would have been more natural for a knight to be on d4 rather than a bishop. But I mean, Henry's got a playable position, and as you said earlier, he's following that Carlsen type idea: get a playable position. He knows he's fast, and he Watu as white has to do something.
Yes, and we can see here as well that Watu has the 3 versus 2 when it comes to pawn structures on the queen side. Watu playing some pawn moves on first a4, now h3, just setting him up slowly, and queen e3, the b6 square is slightly weak. White could
Yeah.
possibly play a5 as well and wedge these 2 pawns on the queen side. So endgame possibilities, staring way deep into the future. White might have some small edge with the 3 versus 2 on the queen side,
And
but lots of play
and
still
of
in the
course,
middle.
there's still the 30-second advantage that black has as well. So
Yes.
one mustn't discount that in blitz. So let's see what these two warriors come up with. Two South African champions doing battle here tonight. 6.5, 1.5 though doesn't do justice to Watu.
Let's see. Knight e5. Black needs to come up with a strategy here. Is he going to play knight d7 to relieve the pressure? Black doesn't have
Yep.
easy moves here in this position when it comes to plans with the pawns. So if I guess his first job is to neutralize White's active pieces in the center.
Yeah, which is following now as per your suggestion, and of course
Some
queen
exchanges.
takes, bishop probably exchange. Okay.
a5.
A5.
Putting that
Yep.
wedge in over there.
And of course, just for the younger viewers, that is one pawn holding back 2 pawns, and of course, small endgame advantage there towards the end. You're also looking at, the bishop coming into play.
Knocking the queen away immediately. Bishop e6 and the queen getting pushed back.
Yeah, queen b8. So there.
Is bishop c5 a possibility? Oh no, it's white to move. Sorry, my apologies. What did white play? Oh, white played the rook a to d1. I was thinking about bishop c5.
Yeah.
The bishops are ripping open the position here for the rooks.
Yeah. Yeah, so they has to give that up. And of course now
B
perhaps,
takes. I was thinking bishop takes. Is B takes not?
yeah, but he doesn't want to give up the pawn. He doesn't want to give up the pawn on e6.
Ah, okay.
So Henry is going now for probably pawn to f3 just to mix it up a bit.
Definitely.
On that side.
We've seen it again. I mean, Henry is an exchange down, and now he's gonna put the pedal to the middle. He's not gonna die slowly. He prefers attacking.
No,
now,
in fact, he's got pawn to e5 as well in some lines.
Yes. So I mean, being an exchange down, he's still fighting and pushing. So
yeah, that's what.
that's a nice
move.
one. Bishop takes
queen
pawn,
d4 check, of course,
check.
picks up there. So that's
And Watu picks up
picking that one up.
His second win of the tournament. Watu getting into form over here. Starting well with the 3-minute portion.
Oh, there's a b4. That's of course a very interesting
b4
opening there.
And Henry has been playing this.
Yeah,
Henry has been playing this throughout the event. He's been getting good results with it, and he's been sacrificing the b4 pawn many times. Actually, players grab bishop takes b4, and he just continues in English style and in Catalan style. So very interesting that Henry's been utilizing. He must have been studying this and thought this would be a nice surprise weapon for anybody, basically.
Of course. So and of course, Watu now just looking. Okay, so here we have pawn to c5, undermining move there with a pawn. So this, of course, just follows that standard Nimzowitsch. Does that lose a pawn? No, we can't.
everything
Knight
is...
and bishop is both as defending. 2 pawns there. F5, perhaps pawn to C6 and F5 in some lines for black. Okay, white plays C6 first. Okay, so
he sacrificed the
not
pawn over there just to hit
yeah.
C6 and open up the C file. Very interesting, because if black played C6 before he played it, then black would have a very solid center, and all of a sudden we see here
Yep.
that black does have some pressure over there. White has some pressure on black center. Okay, he drops back. Should drop back to C2 probably, yes. And very
Is
interesting
F5 going to
position.
happen now? It first goes to D4.
What is black's idea with this D4?
Yeah, I would still go F5 now, probably if I was black.
I don't know how much I
F5
like that D4 move, because white now has a C4 square. He can sometimes play knight E4 as well. Perhaps black should go knight. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overcritical here, but I don't like that D4 move. It's just my there. Your move
Yeah.
comes up. F5. Black needs to start something on
Yeah.
the king side.
Well, this
Okay,
looks
that's a nice
like
maneuver.
another game with the bishop is going to stand on D5.
Yes.
So
Okay, I like that maneuver
okay.
by Watu playing bishop d5 and then c6. a5 is even possible now, trying to get rid of that isolated pawn on the side and attacking the pawn chain a3, b4. So black can perhaps keep white busy on both sides. White goes knight h4, and the two knights are having a conversation on the edge of the board.
Well, and now of course the question is who's going to exchange on d5 or on g2, because either or that pawn on c6 could become a liability. Whoa, what a move!
Knight
What a move there by
f4.
black.
So g takes is not so easy to play because the knight on h4 is hanging, folks.
Yep, but knight takes e2 picks up the exchange. So
Knight
this
takes
is
e2,
a
also
typical.
a nice threat.
Yep, check. Might probably take with the pawn. Yep, takes with the pawn.
The pawns are looking good in the center, covering all the squares that the white knights want to jump into. And e2 is hanging. What should white do? Rook fe1.
It's interesting. Knight h3 and knight takes f2 could be played now by black, followed by pawn to f4, which would be typical Watu style. Just wrapping up the king and going for it. Yeah, there you go. Knight takes f2 to follow probably.
Let's see. Knight takes knight to g5. So he
knight
plays.
g5
He's probably still
okay,
playing for f4. d5 is hanging.
Yeah.
Knight to f6.
Knight f6. Yep.
Is f4?
Probably.
The knight can still go to e6. Yeah, the knight can. So white's trying to just diffuse the pressure here by wanting to exchange some knights.
But it's a lovely center.
Seems like white is at least covered himself when it comes to his king for the moment. It is a lovely center of black. White has just two pawns on the queen side.
Shouldn't white go rook c5 and rook c5 and followed by the other rook just to
E3.
keep up the pressure?
E3, very interesting, very combating player. I was expecting maybe even rook takes, but okay, maybe rook takes d4. So I'm not sure about this e3. I think Henry wants to not allow black to have all that space. He wants to strike back in the center as well. He can perhaps try e4 or d4 at some point.
Yeah, it's just a question of knight g4, attacking that backward pawn on e3, perhaps even then following up with bishop h6, putting pressure on that e3 pawn. Okay, so he wants to exchange rooks. Black has certainly got, there's it coming. Some pressure on e3. It's a loose. The pawn is undefended. So weakness in the white camp. Yeah, bishop h6 probably now follows. Everything else is still covered. Yep, everything else is still covered.
So okay, white. I think white has been defending well, and yeah, in the chat room, that sounds like a cool stream name, by the way, Danny the Champ. It sounds like someone I'd like to watch on air. Yes, and Amini D says interesting match. All right, so we've got a pair of rooks off the board. White has full control of the C file. Bishop on b2 can also be quite menacing down the diagonal. So
question is, can those pawns also become menacing? That's the other question, because of course they're strong, but one must also remember what Richard Vetti said, that occupation of the center doesn't mean control of it.
Aha, yes, they can end up being a liability as well. And okay, so here comes an interesting maneuver. And both of these guys are low on time. Watu turning up the heat here with a pawn sack, seeing Henry being down to 17 seconds. Watu has 50 seconds on the clock. And we tend to sometimes relax too much, seeing that these players are handling the time control so well, but they are below a minute. Usually when I'm playing chess, guys, when you get below a minute, then already the heart rate goes up considerably. So, but these guys make it look easy with the time management. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's a diagonal coming open one way or another. He's pawn to e6 coming now. Yep, pawn to e6 coming.
And the rook is dropping.
D7
the rook is dropping. My word. And Henry breaks through there with a nice tactic. The bishop on b2.
Yeah, rook takes bishop. Yeah,
bishop on b2,
so
telling the tail over there. And yes, Master M, I will ask Henry that question after the match. I will do so. Okay, so now what you just trying a few last checks over here. And this is the second game of the 3.1, correct? Yes, Watu started the 3.1 with a nice win.
Yeah.
And yes, Henry picks up the win, and now it's time to swap the board around. So Henry picks up the win. Nice fighting chess yet again.
Okay, another sort of odd diagonals. Looks like some of the guys studied Tony Miles.
Okay, my board is still refreshing over here.
No, the guys have played a sort of a double fianchetto, but a very strange opening, but exciting one for the viewers. And
it seems like Henry,
commentators looking at
Henry has been doing this during his matches, especially after he wins his match already. Then he goes along with his extravagant openings, or I don't know if it's extravagant, but just unorthodox openings. We saw him play in the other match against Barish. I called it the accelerated Owens defense, and he quite. I think Henry liked my naming of that opening, but yes, he started with a6 and b5, and in this game he starts with h6 and g5.
Yeah, and he went b6 first. Yeah, so maybe accelerated is correct, Calvin, because of course Mr. Owen was a reverend who played against Paul Morphy back in 1858. One of the early matches that Paul Morphy won there in England.
Okay, all right. So a definite fresh position we have at hand here. Guys, just to point out again, Henry is playing with the black pieces here, and Watu's got the white pieces. This is the second last game of the match. It's 3 minutes with 1 second increment, and Henry has already clinched the match. And yeah, now just 2 more games left, and Watu has recovered a bit from the early bad start. And it's actually quite interesting with the last few games, having the weight of things evening out.
And of course, even in that position, knight f5 was also still possible there, just to put pressure on the bishop on g7, because the pawn on e6, of course, was pinned in the before knight e5 was played. Yes. But of course, there's also knight takes f7, bishop g6 type of threats as well. So anything is possible.
It actually looks quite nice here. White, I mean, White has everything he wants to. He's got good development. His king is safe. All of his pieces are well placed. Perhaps just a rook on h1 that wants to get into the game, and maybe knight f5 as well. So comparing the two sides, Black definitely has a difficult task here, just getting his king safe. So a lot of pressure on Black here. So maybe the opening didn't go as well as he wanted to.
Yeah, and I think this is Watu's type of chess where sacrifices will happen at some stage in this game. Probably on e6, he's looking at pawn to c4 and pawn to d5 just to open up the position even more. I think that seems to be an idea there for him. Yeah, queen c8, trying just to give the king some room, and bolster e6.
So let's see. So black, I can't see black castling in the near future. Black's king is under a lot of pressure. So a lot of unorthodox play required here from black. The two knights seem to be covering each other, but white can even play c5 at the right moment to dislodge things. And the queen in the
Yeah.
way of long castling. And I mean, just look at these two knights in the center. Watu even has the time to play a slow move like a3. And
But he was going for c4 to try to play d5. So yeah. So the question is, yeah, he moves out of the
White
way,
decides
as
he
you
doesn't
said.
want to exchange pieces, not knight takes e7 and bishop takes e7. So, yeah, White trying to keep the pieces on the board and leave black cramped. Black goes back to g7, bishop g7. Is it possible for black to short castle? I don't think so.
No, no. Bishop takes h6. Then in those lines would open up, and of course, king b1 is now a possibility for Watu, because of course the rook can take on f6 also in some lines to open up as well. So
Yeah, I think the
yeah, I
pressure is
think
mounting. White is gonna have to make a choice from a lot of options. C5 black needs to of course try something, and yeah, I
yeah,
think black is in trouble over here. I think black is in
yeah.
trouble.
No, I think that Daniel's playing a bit there just to
You mean
also not
Henry?
showing. Henry is not showing us all his stuff, which is great, because of
Knight to
course
c4
there'll
looks
be many
good, by
more
the way.
matches like this.
Knight to c4 looks good. b6 and d6 creaking as well. If white wants to, there we go. Knight to c4 was
Queen
played,
C, Queen C7 force,
and
Queen
bishop
C7 force.
bishop f4, bishop f4 coming. So
Oh no.
the dark squares are
Yeah.
horrible here.
Yeah, I think it's probably all over now. Queen D8, yeah, Queen C6. It's knight A5 now, just picking up the bishop on B7, and then, yeah. Although one mustn't forget that there's things happening on B2 as well in some lines. Bishop takes F5. Yep. Lots of pressure now. Candy castle. Castle queenside.
Castle queenside, that looks still ugly.
Castle
Castle
kingside.
kingside, yes. Bishop takes h6 again, a possible, or rook takes f6. One of the two, both looks good. Let's see which one is what you're gonna choose. Rook takes f6 looks quite nice. Bishop takes h6. I don't know if I want to give out the darks with bishop. Knight
Yeah.
to d5, and
Also, that was a
Henry is starting to fight here. Okay, f5
yes.
is not
Yeah.
possible, but I mean, he's holding on. Okay, it looks. Ah, was that necessary to allow? F5 wasn't possible, but now there's a tempo. Rook f6. Rook to f6.
Rook F6, and there's also some pressure there on the other side of the board just to get some play.
I think black got something from, oh, bishop takes h6.
Uh,
I thought that black should keep the rook on f6, and okay, but knight e5
yes.
was a threat. Yeah, I was maybe a bit too hopeful there for black to get something out of it. Yeah, it should be over soon.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no, it's
so
over now.
what to actually getting back into it slightly here. And now time for the last game. Watu scoring 2 points in the 3 minutes and 1 second increment portion.
Of course, it's also about intensity, Calvin, because sometimes you also have the situation that once you've won a match, then you just
Yes,
play with a little less intensity.
just hang on, Lyndon. Yes, Watu, do you have something to say? Henry, kan je mij horen?
Yeah, can you
Julle het
tell
mos
me
nou
again?
julle het mos 3 games gespeel, so that's one more game left.
Yeah, one can less.
Okay, so we've lost Watu here for a moment. It says reconnecting. Yeah, perhaps Watu had some problem there on WhatsApp. Let's try to get hold of him soon. So Henry moet nog nie die game begin daarso nie, sodra laat ons net vir Watu in die hande kry.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, so let's just give Watu a minute there. I'm not sure if he took a toilet break there. Maybe he said something, but it was reconnecting before he could say anything. All right, so in the meantime, I will update the scores One more game to go. What can we expect, London, from the last game?
I think Henry seems to want to experiment with some of the unusual openings, which is great because we don't often get the chance to see this. And it will be interesting to see what experimentation he still comes up with now in this one. Perhaps just a different variation, not necessarily an opening, but I think it's good because even in our current situation, there's going to be a lot of these internet matches. So I think he's just keeping back some of his things that he's cooking up in the kitchen there in Stellenbosch.
Interesting there. And by the way, Henry, we've had a question here from the people in the chat. This one person was dying to ask you this, and I should have actually asked you earlier on. So this person just reminded me to ask you again. Is it? Let's see, where is he? Let's just go. Master M, I think he's Matthew. He asked. In fact, let me just go into the chat because he asked me. He wanted me to. You just reminded me. Please ask Henry how he managed to keep his calm and nerves and ensure he is emotionally fit for the matches. So that was his question. He just wants to know how you stay calm and keep control of your emotions for the matches. So what do you have to say for that one?
That's an interesting question. I think sort of it's something you get used to, especially if you play a lot of blitz. Like inevitably, you're going to end up in situations where you're under a lot of pressure, because blitz is basically about handling pressure and putting your opponent under pressure.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's just something you get used to. But definitely, if like you haven't played for a long time, then you feel the pressure more, and I think you struggle to cope with it. So I think it's something that you sort of need to expose yourself to regularly.
Yes. And
otherwise,
you can continue. You can continue.
Just in general, I think sort of being fit and sort of like doing exercise just sort of helps to reduce stress and but yeah, I think sort of it's something you get used to as well.
Okay, thanks a lot, Henry. So we're gonna try to get hold of Watu. Let's there's Watu phoning. Henry, I think I'm gonna go to his call and add you again.
Okay.
Hi, Watu. Is everything okay there? Watu, I can't hear you. You muted the call.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Is everything fine that side?
Yeah, my battery was off, so now I've just on the charge.
Oh, okay. So are you able to do the video chat or or what's the situation from your side?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's on the charge. I should be able to.
Okay, so let's just end the call and see if I can get the both of you online again.
Okay.
All right, thanks. All right, so guys, Watu's battery was going down there. I'm also on charge here. So we are doing the WhatsApp video calls during the matches, and we've got Watu back on here, and let's just get Henry. I have to type sideways here for my phone to keep on charging. So we're getting Henry on the line, and yeah, that's an interesting topic that we were discussing over there, and I've also got a view over there on that. But I think perhaps we can continue that discussion afterwards. I think the players should be eager on finishing up the match with one more game, one final game left. And in fact, Watu is leading the 3.1 portion of the match, the mini match, the 3 minutes and 1 second increment. Watu is leading 2-1, one more game to go. So now Henry is the one that I'm trying to get hold of, and there we're connecting finally. Okay, so right guys, so we've got one more game to go. I would just do a friendly request. Let's have a champagne game. Let's have a fun, and yeah, good luck to both of you. And yes, of course, all of them are fun. But let's get the nitros going. Right. So Right. You guys can mute your calls and let's get going. And whenever you guys are ready, we can go. So one more game to go, guys. Let's just make sure that we've got the game going. I think they might have to Are you guys going to rematch or is it a okay, I've got the match. Okay, thanks. All right, good luck. Yeah, so
Okay.
in fact,
So we're going for a Sicilian. Are we going for the bishop b5 again?
okay, we're almost
Normal,
there.
normal Sicilian.
Okay, normal
Ah,
Sicilian dragon, and we've seen Watu play the dragon in the previous matches as well. And white
yeah.
not playing bishop c4 is Watu is Henry with the white pieces gonna play bishop, and he goes bishop c4. So this is very interesting stuff. Bishop d7,
Yeah,
early
there's your
h4.
h4, h5 coming.
And Watu in the previous stream actually mentioned that he allows h5 just like now. He has no issue. He has no issues allowing h5. And I believe with white not having
Mm,
castled yet, there's definitely possibilities of black capturing. Usually black doesn't capture on h5 willingly, but yeah, with white not having castled
mm.
even. And this knight g3 is quite interesting. What's happening over here?
Well, it's probably what they call computer chess because this would have been well analyzed
And you
by
know what?
black.
You know what? I think something like rook g1 could there might be some rook takes c3 business going on because after queen takes c3,
Yeah,
then there's a knight takes f3 and the pin from the bishop on g7 doesn't allow the knight to capture on f3 and you will actually fork the rook and the queen. So white just long
yes,
castles and says okay, you can take the
yep,
exchange. Very, very, I think a nice
yeah,
practical decision because the knight on f6 is usually a critical defender in these type of lines. And white just says, you can take my rook.
yeah.
I've got your precious knight on f6 and I'm going for mate.
In fact, Calvin, I was looking at that with all the analysis. If that rook had moved, then bishop c3 could have pinned the queen against the king. In your line with knight takes f3 check and all of those things.
Yes, yes, yes. And even after b takes c3 in those lines, knight takes f3 is still possible with some knight takes f3 and knight takes e4, again causing massive complications. So
Yes,
what to avoiding all of
that
that.
was the idea there. So now there's a h-file issue. Is h5 forced just to close up, or
Sure, there's
was the
pressure. There's pressure
there's
on
pressure
the
here,
H
or
file, and this is what we've asked for, guys. Um, the the CKC director here of the tournament asked the players to produce us with some action, and I mean what to just unleashing the Sicilian dragon here. I mean the dragon always being very interesting. And
yeah.
Dr. Shabir says, Watu played Fedorov before. Is this in this Sicilian Dragon, or what are you? What exactly are you saying, Dr. Shabs?
Well, it's an interesting position to have gotten there. Yeah, there's
H5 played.
h5
So G takes
forced there.
H5.
Yeah, and g5 must probably be played now
Whew.
to close up.
G5, but then
To close.
H6 and H7. I
Yeah, I don't know, eh? Oh,
so
is he
black is
how long can black survive?
maybe the black king can run to F7 now. That's why I played bishop knight to C4 just to block the bishop on B3.
Yeah.
But after
So
queen h7 check, king f7 and bishop h6, he still has rook g8 left. But then rook g1 perhaps, queen f6. Okay. So it seems like black is holding on by the skin of his teeth here, unless there's a nice
yeah,
tactic. And Watu is taking, I mean white is taking his time here. Henry is taking his time
yeah.
with the white pieces. Maybe a critical moment has arisen.
There's of course also the bishop takes c4 and queen takes d6, just picking up
Yes,
that pawn there as
and
well.
that's exactly what it does. Rook takes. Is he gonna go for queen takes d6?
Because the h file is never going to run away. It's always going to be there.
And I mean, nipping another pawn, you being an exchange down, might not be so bad. You can start thinking of other options as well besides mate in the long run. But I got a feeling that Henry is calculating here. Is there something else besides Queen takes d6 gets played? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So
So
what
just keeping
now?
up the pressure because that's what you need. And also you have moves like knight d5 in some lines. Yeah. So they trying to exchange. The
Bishop
queen should
c8.
just yeah.
Black wants to exchange queens, and there's
Yeah.
pressure
It
on the
looks like
knight on
it's for
d4. Yes, because there's so much pressure on the knight on d4.
yeah. It looks like it's forced.
Nice move there by Black, basically forcing the exchange here,
Yeah.
and no more mate on the board.
No more mate on the board. Knight de2 probably forced or something just to get out of that. Yeah.
So Watu
So
actually doing an excellent job defending again. Not seeing all of Watu that I'm used to. Watu doing different things in this match, and I mean, yeah, he did an excellent job in defending. I think he knows a bit about the dragon, um, and
yes.
that e6 move does definitely come into play sometimes to create an escape hole for the king. But
Yeah.
yeah, White having a pawn for the exchange here. Still some play here. Knight f4 hitting the g6 pawn. Looks
Yeah.
dangerous to
No.
grab on g6.
Yeah. Black should comfortably be able to just take this. Bishop h6 is in the air. Bishop takes e3. So all of them those moves are all possible.
I'm not sure if Black is completely winning yet. I mean, White can still mess around with his knights here. Maybe knight h3 and knight g5 check. The two knights can dance around a bit. So Watu must still
Although
be
there's
sharp.
Black has two bishops. Black has two bishops.
Yes. No doubt Black is ahead, but this is a blitz game. And
Okay.
Watu is ahead on the clock. Henry's got about 9 seconds. Watu's got 39 seconds. So Henry is also down on the clock. Looks like he's willing to
Yeah.
repeat. And Watu says, now I'm fighting on. If Watu wins this one,
Yeah.
he can at least proudly say he won the 3.1 convincingly.
Yeah. And he would always go down fighting.
Yes, of course. F4 being played.
Yep. Watu loves to push those pawns, eh?
F5. Bishop F4.
Yep.
E6. E6 is in the air. E6 is in the air. White did have to
Yep.
give up a lot of pawns for it though. But all of a sudden, White's got 2 pieces for the rook. And Henry continuing with his fighting chess. Oh, but he didn't take the piece. He didn't take the piece. I think Henry's under a lot of time pressure here. So no time to play the first move.
Yeah. So
And a time scramble. Oh, and the rook drops. Watu drops a rook. Watu drops a
Watu
rook.
dropped the rook.
And he's
Oh
suddenly
no.
busted. Now Henry must just keep the clock. Rook F1.
Yes. No.
This is the last game of the match, guys. And Henry is running with his pawn. Rook behind the pawn,
Yes.
perhaps Bishop E3. And Watu has thrown away a lovely game.
Yeah.
Watu has thrown away a lovely game. What a game it
Cal-
is. What
and
a
Calvin,
fighting
you
game.
know that on the Cape Flats, if you lose a rook, then you have played a rookaloo.
Yeah, we know that term, yeah. All right, let's have a chat with the players and then we're going to go back to the studio. All right, guys, what a lovely match it was. And I just want to congratulate Henry on winning the match. Well done, Henry. And you are the first Calvin Klaasen Chess Invitational winner. A champion, Calvin Klaasen Chess Invitational champion. Well done. Well done, Watu Kobese, for giving us such lovely chess. I think the start of the match actually kind of set you back quite far because we see here you've been playing quite nice at the end here, getting your form back in the time management department as well. So well done to you as well, Watu, for having a brilliant tournament. So where shall we start? Can we start with Watu?
Yeah.
What can you what can you tell us about this match specifically, Watu? I know I asked you earlier, but perhaps more ideas or thoughts on the remainder of the match and overall perhaps as well, and for future reference perhaps with these type of events.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's the thing about it's just very tiring, I guess.
Yes.
maybe it depends on because it's a long day. I mean, I without excuses, but I had like 2 lessons to give still, and it's generally a long day, and I mean you get tired, but so I didn't feel like I was as fresh as all that, but
Yes.
yeah, it was an interesting match, but yeah, it's always difficult with these internet things because at the end of the day, somehow you feel like it has little to do with chess and more with speed and just general technique of how to handle specific positions, which is not really much chess related. But I guess it's a game on its own. The internet thing, and look, with every format, one needs to play to find a format that works, and the more you play with it, the better the quality because you start getting used to it. The shifting from one particular set of games, like 10 minutes, and immediately to go to 5, and then immediately to go to 3. It's not as easy as all that to handle.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry?
Yeah, I agree with that. It does take some adjusting, and I mean, if you consider the I mentioned as well in the previous streams that some players you can even see online rating wise having a monster ratings, and in real life they might not have the biggest ratings around. So there is a big difference, perhaps, or not colossal, but a difference indeed with internet play and your usual play. So I mean, with everything switching to this side, perhaps all of us should try to get in a few more games online. But yeah, and do you have perhaps any other thoughts, or can we switch over to Henry? Do you have any other last comments on the tournament itself? We've thoroughly enjoyed having you here. By the way, we've been fully entertained. Plus this dragon game at the end. It was a pity that things turned out like that at the end, because I mean, we saw another dragon game earlier where you said you just allow h4 h5, and we saw it again, and then yeah, so quite entertaining.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, theoretically, I think, G4. Actually, I had a game like this in the Commonwealth against Fedorchuk.
You know what? Dr. Shabir mentioned that in the chat while you guys were playing. Dr. Shabir had to mention that you had a game against was it what's the guy's name? Fedorov.
Fedorchuk.
Fedorchuk. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically it was a very easy game for me there. I mean, it's theoretical. He had to find all the moves, and at the end it was a very easy draw for me, and a very nice draw against a very strong player with black. So yeah, I pick up the rook, and I think generally that position. White always has tricks, but generally from a theoretical point of view, I mean, black is just should be just better in that position, and it's always difficult. You always have to treat some tricks here and there. So but I found it interesting because in the breaks I was obviously repairing my openings. I was quickly going to the
Okay.
to prepare and repair.
You mean during the mini matches?
Well, of course, during the mini matches I was going back.
Okay, so Watu, you can say it's something similar. I must tell the viewers out there, I've seen Watu once or twice during open events, in between the rounds. Then you just see Watu with an open boot and the laptop. Sometimes it's deliberate so that the players can see he's preparing or something, or sometimes he might not even be preparing, but just the visuals. I've seen Watu do the touches, small touches here and there in between. So typical of Watu, very interesting. So you say running up and down between the breaks as well.
Well, of course. What else could you do?
Yeah, the typical chess player.
It was nice. I enjoyed it, and thanks for organizing the event. It was very entertaining. Well done, Henry. You played well, interesting, and the way you handle the clock is a skill, and you do it very well. So yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Watu. And like we said, we've been fully entertained by your play, and yeah, it was an absolute pleasure having both of you on the show. So now on to the CKC champion. What do Henry Steele, International Master Mohammed Henry Steele, being the first CKC champion? Can we get a small speech or thoughts from you, Henry?
Sure. Yeah, I think with this format, especially because you weight the rapid games to count twice as much, the rapid games really are very, very important. And it's been my strategy in all of the matches to get to a 4-0 start if possible.
Yes.
And I was fortunate that in my game against Paul, the opening I played as black was basically preparation.
Yes, I remember that one.
Barriers as well, the Nimzo was preparation. And against Watu as well, I was lucky enough that he's crushed me a few times in the time enough. So I figured if I could fix it and just get like a few minutes ahead on the clock out of the opening with a decent position, especially because there's no increment, then you have a good chance of winning the game.
Yes.
So yeah, I think my strategy was just focus on the rapid games, especially because like what he said, he was doing some repair work in the breaks. You don't have time. I mean, if you can already land those punches in the rapid games, then even if your opponent does find some kind of antidote for the blitz games, there's still a very good chance that you'll be able to sort of clinch the match somewhere along the line.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, blitz, especially online blitz. I think if you look at any of the sites where people play, you'll find a lot of like people who are very, very good at online blitz specifically, but not at showing classical. I think it's almost to some extent like a video game that people spend a lot of time playing, and eventually they become very, very good at it. But it doesn't necessarily translate, like what you said, to real chess skill or to chess understanding.
Yeah, and
it's definitely.
Yeah, you may continue.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like an idea for a different format is just to do the same as they're doing at the Magnus Carlsen Invitational at the moment, where you have 4 15-10 games instead of these games with different time controls, and especially with the blitz games. Then I mean the match will be about the same length time-wise, but you'll have sort of 4 games of higher quality, and you don't have to wait some of them to count more than others. So it should be sort of like a better chess in general, and also maybe a fairer representation of. Because I don't think the scores in any of these matches reflect skill at all.
Maybe more skill on online, so to speak, and
like using good touch, right?
Yeah. But yeah, that's something interesting to take note of.
But I mean, yeah, like what you said, it's the first event of this kind, I think, for South Africans. So yeah, I mean, it's promising, and it was a lot of fun, definitely. And I think it was very well sort of organized, and I think the production and the effort that went into it was very good.
Thank you.
I think it's a good step forward in the right direction. So I mean, hopefully we'll see more events like this, and maybe hopefully we can sort of get players from other countries in as well. I mean, I think that would be exciting as well.
Definitely.
Maybe organize a match between South Africa and Egypt, or like with South African and Egyptian players, or something like that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scope for interesting things to happen.
All right. No, thanks a lot for all that input there, and congratulations again, Henry, on being the CKC champion. And definitely something that we can look into, this being the first installment of this online event. And if the players perhaps want to, or the viewers out there also would like to see longer games, that can definitely be adjusted in that way. But of course, this was a speed test, a speed match with a lot of blitz games and 2 rapids. The rapids also, not just 2 of them. So if we had 2 more rapids, it might have been a bit too long. But like Henry said, perhaps we can have 4 rapids in the future, something like that. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and thanks to the both of you, you've been dominating this event, and this final match also producing quite a lot of action over there. Any thoughts? Okay, we're gonna get back to the studio soon. But congratulations, yes, yet again, Henry. Well done, Watu. And any final words before we sign off?
No, but I'm gonna get Henry back.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay.
I look forward to it, Watu. I want to just give a shout out to my wife for taking care of the kids, supporting me, and just giving me the space to play. So thank you very much for that.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. So we'll stay in touch, and thanks a lot, and enjoy your evening. Cheers.
Well, thanks, Calvin.
Cheers.
Well done, Henry.
Okay, so now let's just get back to the studio over here. Let's get to the scoreboard. Just one moment. Let's get to the scoreboard. And here we can see that the final score is International Master Mohammed Henry Steele prevailing with a convincing score of 9.5 against 3.5 against International Master Watu Kobese. Watu having a rough start there, losing the 2 rapid games, effectively dropping 4 points of the match, which gave Henry a huge boost. And we could see in the final portion with the 3 minutes and 1 second increment, things actually evening out a bit. So, I mean, Henry's strategy there of playing really hard or focusing a lot on the rapid portion was quite a good strategy. And all credit to Henry, our first Calvin Klaasen Chess Invitational champion. Let's get back to the studio. So, Dr. Boa, what are your thoughts on the match? Something you expected, or any places?
No, in fact, Calvin, I didn't expect Henry to sort of run away with it there from the start. You know, it reminded me of the Champions League match between Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur, where Liverpool scored the goal in the opening minute of the game. And then after that, Tottenham had to play catch-up. And it's similar to what happened now with Watu. You know, he didn't get that attack going in that first game, placing his bishop on d3, queen h5, couldn't get going on the king side, queen f6, but and had to play moves like rook e3 to rook g3, artificial attacking moves. But at the end, Henry just defended very well. So once he picked up those 4 points, as you said, then Watu was always on the back foot. And then, of course, you don't play your normal style because you know that you can't even afford a draw. You have to win every match. So it makes a change if you lose those first 2. I think if they were still equal in those first 2 rapids, you may have seen something different. But I must say that I was impressed with Henry's speed. Doesn't matter what happened. As one of the viewers said, he was never phased. Whether he went a piece down on c4 with queen takes c4, not phased. He continued to play rook takes c2, queen g3, and he just held his own. So credit to Henry. Well done for holding his own emotionally as well, and credit to Watu for putting up a good show. That doesn't matter what it is. You've got to players like Watu and Henry. You've got to nearly beat them 3 times. The first time. Was a mistake or a blunder, but you still got to play your best chess at all times. So well done to the players. I quite enjoyed watching the match, the whole match through from this afternoon, and one can certainly see that opening preparation does play a role, because you can get ahead on the clock if you know your openings.
Definitely.
And I think the guys are confident of their openings. They played. I mean, that knight g3, as Dr. Shab said. Watu had played at the Commonwealth before, but there's a lot of analysis that still has to go into it because of, as you said, knight takes f3, knight takes e4, rook takes c3. Lots of analysis that needs to come. So well done, Calvin, to you and your team there for organizing. Lots of people have written to me to say that they've enjoyed the match as well, having watched it online. And yes, so maybe it's something for us to consider getting some players from some of the other African countries to compete against the best in the West.
Definitely,
so well
definitely. Thank you very much, Dr. Boa over there. And let's just go over to the scoreboard again one final time. I think we have made a small mistake. The result is 3.5, 8.5, or 8.5 in Henry's favor, with the total scores being 12 points. So that's the final score, 8.5, 3.5. And then, yeah, I would also just like to do to do some thanking over here. Thanks a lot, Lyndon, for joining us on the show and lending us your expertise on chess and
pleasure.
And all the players' history and so on. So thank you very much. And now I just want to step over and thank everybody else. So I just like to thank all the followers, everybody that has been watching the show, everybody that's been viewing the show. Thank you to all the players out there that has participated. You are all stars, and you all made the event quite entertaining. Thinking back, our first match, we actually had Sherwin Kleinsmith and Daniel Barish going all the way till the end in a tie break, and then we also saw Watu actually winning a match with full score. So so much drama in the event, and the man of steel, international master Mohammed Henry Steele, actually prevailing as the top seed. So congrats to him once again. And yeah, thanks to everybody that has been supporting me online on Facebook for the messages, to my personal number, and just all over. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you to Robin again for all the support and all the advertisements and for making this thing happen. Like I said, it wouldn't have been possible without Robin van Niekerk. So I hope you also enjoyed it, and thank you everybody for watching. And I think this is it for this Calvin Klaasen Chess Invitational. If you haven't followed me by now, then it's on you. It's down there, twitch.tv/Calvin Klaasen Chess. If you don't know how to do that, go on to twitch.com, just sign up for free, and search my link, twitch.tv/Calvin Klaasen Chess, and press the purple button at the top that would say follow. And that's basically it, and then you'll get notifications on when I go live, and also special features to come very soon if you are a follower. In the past, I've done other streams, and my main stream is just playing online, Blitz and Rapids. So next week we're continuing with my usual streams. I've got a few guests coming on as well with Blitz and Rapids. I'm continuing with my puzzle rush and solving puzzles online, and I started my lecture series on how to beat the Grandmaster. I started with part 1, more to follow as well, so that should be interesting. And of course, I've also started last week with a simultaneous exhibition, and next week I think I'm going to have another one. So to all the followers, I will be doing an exhibition. If you haven't followed me, I will not be open to playing you, so please make sure you follow me. And yeah, thank you for everybody for watching, and that is the end of this event. And by the way, the winner of this tournament, if I haven't mentioned before, does win the grand prize of 1,600 Rand. So well done to everybody, and see you next time. Cheers.
Calvin? All right, Calvin, I'm closing down.